Hello and welcome to the 2023 Barbados Rally Club Shakedown, brought to you through the kind sponsorship and partnership of Java Island. This year, the event would be configured as a rally using two venues with a reverse running in the afternoon, as opposed to the 2022 season, which had only been a double-header sprint shootout. As crowds started to gather on the stages, we headed over to Hayman's Plantation Yard, which was set as the main service for the event, to meet up with some of the teams who have been working on some final touches before the start. One such driver we were keen to speak to had been Kyle Gregg, who is no newcomer to the sport, but someone we have not seen rallying in Barbados since 2016, and we were eager to know what sparked his interest and renewed commitment.
I've always preferred rallying over circuit racing. Rallying is not as big in Jamaica as here. These guys have these R5 championship going. That's definitely a plus. Everybody's on the same page, and making things be level and fair. Just why not? I had to feel the grip. Unfortunately, I had a little off, and I slapped the back and broke the spigot. But luckily, I had spares. But better then than now. But I haven't rallied on tarmac since 2015 or 2016, I should say. But I just want to finish it, get used to the car. Everything is new. Normally, I'm sinking clutch. Now I'm just pulling gears. But
this is more of a shakedown for sure.
Definitely. I've already told my navigator, Ori, I don't want to hear no times.
Exactly, perfect.
But to me, the car feels good. But when you go out there and the more you drive it, there's more seat time you get in, everything starts to adapt. So
we were also eager to speak to frequent visitor to the island, Paul Horton, who is here this season to compete in his newly acquired Citroen C3, which he had run through its paces on 2 UK events over the recent weeks.
Journey's been really good. We're really happy with the car. The minute I sat in the car, I was comfortable in it. And then just been building on that really, like you said, in Ireland and England, just not going crazy, but picking up some speed gradually and feeling the car under me and understanding it really. And then in the test here, the first one was a bit shaky because I haven't been in it, but then after that it felt really good, so very happy. Everything's a little bit more refined. Time moved on, so the steering's more refined, a little bit sharper, the gearbox is tighter, and the sort of chassis is a lot tighter, so the car turns in a little bit quicker, and then it's a little bit more torque, so it's sort of a little bit more punchy and even out the corners, and generally the power all the way through.
This event would boast a 50-team entry list, some of whom were balancing multiple championships for this outing, while also treating this event as a shakedown for Seoul Rally Barbados in a few weeks' time. We spoke to Josh Reed on how he would prioritise this.
No, I think I would like to try and go at it. Yeah, so I would like to see if we can see what the grip levels are like. I think it's going to be a bit dusty out there. The weather looks a bit uncertain right now, so I'm not sure what we're going to find with that. But if we have consistent conditions, then certainly I want to go for it and see what I can do today. See what sort of result I can get.
Speaking of the weather, by the time the Zero cars had arrived at the stage start, both Special Stage 1 and 2 had been subjected to a torrential downpour. But before we get into the drama that would unfold, let's have a look at the stages in more detail. Special Stage 1 and 3 would consist of Lamberts to Pickering. Special Stages 2, 4, 6 and 8 went from Mount Brevotor to Sailor Gully, while Special Stages 5, 7 and 9 were from Pickering to Lamberts. Now let's get into the action with the top 10 and first in group after the morning loop of stages. First up would be the pair of Dane Skeet and Tyler Mayhew, who, only after the third stage, would take the lead of the rally by 6 seconds after settling for third overall for most of the morning. The 2022 R5 champion driver Stuart Maloney admitted that he was not as comfortable as he would have liked to have been to put the pace down on the morning runs. However, he was well capable of maintaining second overall throughout. Seemingly at home in these conditions was the pair of Kyle Gregg and Ori Hunt, who would bounce around the top 5 for most of the morning, but settling third after the first loop and only 5 seconds behind the closest rival Stuart Maloney. There was no bouncing around though for Roger Hill and Graham Gittins, as the pair would put in consistent runs throughout the morning, settling for a respectable 5th overall going into lunch. Rounding out the top 5 with a slower than usual start was Jeffrey Panton and Mike Fennell in their Skoda R5 Fabia, who like most had to take a balanced approach to make it to lunch. Clearly showing that the shakedown sessions in Irish and UK conditions were worth the trek, Paul Horton and Michael Wormwood put in a commendable morning drive, which would see them 6th overall and just 1 second off of the top 5.
150, flat over crest, 230, and right 4 cut into flat right over crest. 80, left 4 into right 4, keep out, into left 2 plus, clean. 180, left 5 plus, into right 5 cut. 130, right 5 into left 2 8, into 9. Into left 2, into right.
Hot on the heels of Horton would be the pair of Andrew Malaloo and Jeffrey Goddard, who had some close calls throughout the morning loop, but would make it to the lunch halt 7th overall and 6th in class. Rounding off the R5 group would be Mark and Justin Maloney, ending the morning loop 8th overall. In a heated battle with his brother for the fastest two-wheel drive honours, the pair of Roger Myers and Barry Ward would finish the morning loop 9th overall, just 3 seconds ahead of his brother. Rounding off the top 10 and second to his brother for fastest two-wheel drive team would be Barry Myers and Ben Norris, who would spend most of the morning loop tackling the challenging conditions. Now let's have a look at those who are leading their groups at the end of the morning loop. Starting things off is Logan Watson, who ended the morning stages first in group and just 1 place short of the top 10 overall. Next up was the 2022 BRC champion driver Ed Corbin with Jonathan Aline on the note to secure a 12th overall at the lunch halt. At the end of special stages 1 and 2, Neil Corbin had been 19th overall, but following a mighty drive, as displayed here, he was able to make it to 13th overall before lunch. A name we haven't seen on the top end of the Clubman 2 class for some time was that of Derek Edwards, who went into lunch leading the heavily competitive Clubman 2 group. The US and English pairing of George Sherman and Andy Grimstone in their Evo 9 would settle for 19th overall and first in the Modified 4 class. Kevin Armstrong and Sean Brathwaite in their BMW 325 would seal the deal for Clubman 3 with a 23rd overall finish at the lunch halt. Taking a cautious approach for most of the morning would benefit Jonathan Steele and Heath Hazel to a first in Super Modified 2 and 26th overall. Ending up as the class leaders in Group B with an eventful morning was Mark Huggins and Stephen Bell, who seemed to have been plagued with mechanical issues for most of the day. Before we go into the afternoon segment, it would be remiss not to mention the unfortunate exit of Josh Reed from the rally, which occurred due to a brake failure captured here by a spectator. Thankfully though, both Josh and Mark Jordan are okay. Another unfortunate exit was that of Rob Swan, who had won Stage 1 and 2, but crashed out on Special Stage 3. During the lunch halt, a bit more rain came down and drivers had to make a calculated decision on tyre choices going into the afternoon. With Dane Skeet out after rejoining on the first stage after lunch, and feeling a lot more confident than during the morning loop, Stuart Maloney and Christian Yearwood would finish the BRC Shakedown Stages event with a comfortable 15-second lead from their closest rival. Consistent and quick. This was the game plan for Roger Hill and Graham Gittins for this outing, and it is surely a strategy to be used for the up-and-coming Seoul Rally Barbados in a few weeks' time. The pair would end the day second overall. Making it onto the podium on the very last stage, after wandering around in the top 5 for most of the afternoon, was Geoffrey Panton and Mike Fennell, who had benefited from a strategic tyre move to see them third overall. Fourth overall and merely a second off from a podium finish on what was their first outing in the Fiesta R5 would be Carl Gregg and Ulrich Hunt, the pair of whom would become instant favourites of those spectating on the Lambert stage. Finding their groove in the afternoon, Mark and Justin Maloney would work their way up from 7th to a top 5 finish, which would certainly prove that they are a crew to watch in the coming weeks. Indeed, one of his best finishes considering conditions of the day, and on his first local outing in the C3, Paul Horton and Michael Wormwood finish 6th overall, and also show their fellow R5 Championship contenders that they should certainly not be discounted for the championship honours this season. After a number of spills and thrills throughout the day, the experienced pairing of Andrew Malalou and Jeffrey Goddard were able to pull it together and come away with a 7th overall finish. On what was akin to a boxing match, the battle between Barry and Roger Myers would end with Roger coming out on top, taking 3 stage wins while Barry could only manage 2 in the afternoon. In the end, Roger Myers and Barry Ward would secure 8th overall and the fastest 2-wheel drive. That means settling for 9th overall, 2nd in class and 2nd fastest 2-wheel drive would be Barry Myers and Ben Norris. We keenly look forward to Rally Barbados to witness the continuation of this M&M duel. Remaining consistent in his approach for most of the day, Logan Watson would finish the day securing a top 10 finish and 1st in Modified 3. Just short of another top 10 finish and taking us into the group winners, Ed Corbett and Jonathan Aline would finish 11th overall and 1st in Modified 1 at the end of play. True to form of his morning approach, Neil Corbin would remain consistent to secure a 12th overall finish and 1st in Modified 2. Let's have a look at his final run through the treacherous mud-slick Lambert stage. Taking a group stage win on all but the last stage of the afternoon loop, Ian Warren would climb his way up to 1st in Clubman 2 with a respectable 13th overall. '18th overall and 1st in Super Modified 2 would be Jonathan Still and Heath Hazel, whose measured approach for most of the day kept them out of trouble and finishing in a respectable position. 1st in Clubman 3 and finishing in a strong 19th overall was Kevin Armstrong, who experienced some spills and thrills on the slick conditions. 21st overall and 1st in Modified 4 was a respectable ending for George Sherman considering the stage conditions for most of the day. Another group win in Super Modified 1 and in the toughest of conditions, Darren Lashley will certainly be remembering this event for some time to come. In his first event, with conditions assimilating a baptism of fire, Wayne Tasker in his Opel Corsa would take the group win in Clubman 1. Rounding off the final results, Mark Huggins would take the Group B class win, but based on the engine note, there was much work to be done before the next event. Ending the day, we had the chance to have a quick chat with rally winner Stuart Maloney.
Today was good. I mean, it ended well. It didn't start the greatest. I Really wasn't comfortable this morning. Really took time to get into it for whatever reason. The car was great, but I wasn't. To the afternoon, I started to get more comfortable and find a groove, and went a lot better. But all in all, the result was good. It was a good opportunity to drive in these conditions, not knowing what Rally Barbados has to offer. So yeah, all in all, it was good.
So overall, good confidence for Rally Barbados now then, I guess?
Yeah, if it's dry, I'm looking forward to a dry Rally Barbados, and I think if it is dry, I think I...
All right. Well, good seeing you, and congratulations.
That rounds off another weekend of rally action here on Red 265. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you're new. I have been Chris Reardon, and I'll see you next time. Ciao for now.